Good evening. This is BTV News, Washington, D.C. You are welcome to yet another section of Biafra 360. With me here in the studio are Dr. Lawal,
Pleased to be here. Good evening, everyone.
Dr. Mekus,
Good evening.
Mazi Nnamdi Odogwu,
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
and Ehud Rabba.
And thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. Hope you're having a mighty fine evening.
We have online Father Charles Ede.
Thank you for welcoming me. Good evening.
Evening. Also online we have Madam Nena Ibe.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, audience.
Good evening. We have Father Ben joining us online.
Happy to be here. Good evening, everybody.
And finally, online we have Madam Josephine Anire Ojuse.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone.
Okay. The topic we are discussing this evening is the enemy within. The enemy within Biafra land. The enemy within the struggle. We are going to analyze and identify those enemies and then discuss or make suggestions how to handle them, and also cite other struggles, other nations that have already actualized or have their freedom, how they handled their enemies within. I'm going to start this evening with Dr. Mekus. We know we have enemies in Biafra land, and we have the so-called leaders, those elected officers supposed to be the governors, and other enemies within Biafra land. I will give you this chance to please identify some of them for us, and then give us suggestions what you think about them.
Good evening again, the audience. Thank you, the host. The issue of enemies within is not unique to Biafran struggle. It's not within the unique to the Biafran struggle. Many free nations we have today all went through what we are going through. Mentioning some of them, from United States, where we are now, to France, to Germany, to USSR, to Britain, they all had enemies within. They had spies, they had double spies. And they did one thing. Each and every nation has always done one thing to those who betrayed them. They killed them. That's it, they killed them. If you go on the website www.essentialcivilwarscurriculum.com, I'm going to use US as an example. It says there during their civil war, it's clearly there written that clearly that during the Civil War, Congress gave U.S. Army Court-Martial the power to try and punish by death spies who, either in time of war or rebellion, were found in or about the camps of the army. Even the Congress of the Confederate States gave Confederate court-martials the same power to punish by death those who betrayed them. The same thing applies to other nations. So there's no need for us to reinvent the wheel. There is a clear precedent here. So it's not too far-fetched to what we need to do. as of naming the so-called governors, leaders, or whom have dubbed themselves leaders. They are not leaders, they are misleaders. They have been warned repeatedly by our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and given the opportunity to turn around and do the right thing. So the president is clearly here. By the way, these people here in the book that the Christians have hijacked as their book, called the Bible, is what I call the manual of life. The author of life there in the book of Philippians chapter 2 verse 3 to 4 clearly stated, quote, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others," unquote. By their heinous acts, they are neither politicians nor governors. The background of the men, if the background of these men when revealed, shows that they have always been men of questionable character and dubious nature. They muscled their way into governorship positions as wolves in sheep coats. They intentionally made themselves willing living weapons of mass destruction of their own people and their future. The only motive they have is abject selfishness and greed. Since they do not read, and leaders are readers, their minds are still very crude. They lack knowledge and informed reasoning ability to articulate the reality of Britain and Fulani persistent effort for centuries to exterminate the people of Southeast and Southwest. They do not know the story of Lebanon. Lebanon, a former Christian religion hub, turned into an Islamic state today after killing of all adult male and old women. They subject the young women into forced pregnancies that repopulated the country. Today, Lebanon is Islamic State. These dubious, selfish, and greedy morons are so knowledge deficit of modus operandi of Fulanis. That is, after using them to gain their fatherland, they will be the first to be killed. Then the adult citizens, male and female alike, after which their fatherland will be Islamized, and survivors will remain slaves for life.
Okay.
However, many Biafrans have vowed to no go back, and know that the enemy closest to one is their most dangerous enemy. Consequently, the president said by the free nations of today during their own struggles on how to handle enemies within must apply.
Thank you. Thank you. He says that the enemy, the closest enemy, is your worst enemy. Your closest enemy is your worst enemy. Madam Nena Ibe, we have our leaders, the so-called traditional leaders. In your own opinion, are they really taking care of our people? Are they our rulers, or are they our enemies? Give us your thoughts about the traditional leaders in Biafra land.
Thank you, Colonel, for giving me this opportunity to again discuss this interesting topic, enemies within. Right away, I want to let people understand. We all know the meaning of enemy anyway, but it is important to know that an enemy could also be described as a foe. It's an individual or group of people that is considered as forcefully adverse. They are adverse. They have adverse effects or threatening what we stand for, threatening who we are, threatening our objective. The concept of an enemy has been observed to be basic for both individuals and communities and groups like we have in IPOB. The term enemy serves the social function of designating a particular entity as a threat. So today, our traditional rulers are threats to us. And because they are threat to us, there is inward involvement of intense emotion or emotional response to that entity. The entity of the Igwes, the Ezes, is quite intense. These people want to annihilate us. There is an adage in Igbo land that says that the rat in the house is the one that tells the rat outside the house that there is fish inside. These Igwes have all these years, we have been struggling to have Biafra, sabotaging all our efforts, making it impossible for us to move forward. Let us not go too far. Just yesterday, the governor of Imo State, Supreme Court governor, gave an order that if there is any attack by unknown gunmen that we don't know who they are, where they come from, that if those unknown gunmen attack any government building like police station, that he will remove the certificate of every Igwe and Eze in Imo State. That clearly shows that those Ezes and Igwes are front of the government. They are there to monitor our people, our youth, in the grassroots, thereby pointing the fingers to them, getting them arrested, killing them, and disposing of their body. And in fact, taking their organs for sale, which is the in thing with the police, Nigerian police today. Therefore, the Igwes are clearly our enemies. I am sorry to say this. I know that in every 12 there is a Judas. Possibly in every 12, the Judas now may be the 1%, one Igwe that is okay. But I'm yet to see, because in my own village, my Igwe is the worst. I can't even name him. So naming them doesn't we just name where they come from. The Obi of Onitsha is a big enemy. About a month or 2 months ago, he told us that he's forming a new security outfit, which is a joke, which is laughable. The Igwe of Nnewi, we has never spoken. Most of them, silence is their weapon. The Igwe of Aguleri, they have never spoken. Most of them, silence is their weapon. So as long as our people are being killed and these Igbes are keeping quiet and being silent simply means that they are part of it. They are into it. They are the ones that are pointing those boys when they are being killed. And most of Igbes today, they have cup in hand begging for money. They have monetary allocation from the state government. State government give them cars and jeeps. For that reason, they can never stand for Biafra, but they are against us. So basically, we consider most of these traditional rulers our enemies, and they are the ones actually killing our people. They are the ones actually destroying the fabric of our tradition and destroying the fabric of our being. Therefore, they are enemies and they need to be deleted. Thank you, the moderator.
Welcome. You're welcome, Madam Nena Ibe. With me here to give us idea from the biblical point of view. We know the struggle we're experiencing today is not new. Even in the Bible, Moses had to go through the same problems, enemies within. Ehud Rabba, could you please share with us from biblical point of view in few minutes the challenges, the saboteurs Moses had to go through during the struggle when they were trying to leave Egypt to the promised land?
Thank you very much. And that is a very interesting question coming from a biblical point of view. That means from stage 1 to the last stage of reaching the promised land, there were hindrances. There were clogs in the wheel of the progress of the migration from Egypt to the promised land. The journey had stages, and in each of the stages we are punctured or tinctured or punctuated with a sabotaging, different levels of sabotaging. For instance, Moses, who was a very popular prince, should I say specifically, in the land of Egypt, when he discovered that he's part and parcel of the people who were being enslaved, who were being maltreated, who were under the under bondage, suffering under the heavy-handedness of the taskmasters, he realized himself. There was stage there. At a point, he noticed that the taskmasters were also taking advantage of the people groaning under pain. One day, he met one of them, dehumanizing the other. He figured out that the other one was Egyptian and the other one was an Israelite. He did something to that Egyptian, believing that the Israelite will conceal whatever happened there, hoping that he was fighting on the side of his people. Next time he met the same man fighting with another Israelite, he reminded them they should not be fighting against each other. The same thing that is playing out today in what we are doing. They are only for the Israelite to remind him, to threaten him that he will report to the high authority, that is Pharaoh. Out of that, Moses, sensing danger, took flight. That is stage 1. Next stage of the struggle is the sighting of the burning bush in the land of Horeb, Mountain Horeb. If you like, call it Mesopotamia. That is what obtained there. From there, Moses had only one concern. His concern was his people. He took excuse, but these people you are sending me to, when Elohim decided to send him back to Egypt to let the people, to free his people, to start the struggle, Moses, remember, was not sleeping on the sufferings of his people. He was, God sees what is inside the content of the mind of people. Whatever, he's a silent listener to every silent conversation. He had Moses, and they figured this is the man that is in the right place to lead my people out of slavery, of bondage. And that is that there. Moses' only concern was his people. That he knew the kind of people, they are very stubborn, that they might not listen to him. Then he queried, whom shall I say that sent me? For these people might not believe me. That is ardent kind of sabotage. He said that whatever he says to them will not be taken seriously by the people. He's a way of sabotaging. That is the crowd mentality. Moses was afraid of the crowd mentality. The people might not believe. And then the Lord said, when they ask you who sent you, or who sent you, Master Pastor, tell them, I am who I am. I am. I am who I am, sent you. Then to cut a long story short, they embarked on the journey. Along the way, something happened. When they were close, a journey that would have taken 11 days took them 40 years. There was something that brought about that effect. And I'm talking about, if you can read or if you can go to the book of Numbers, chapter 13 through 14. You will see it there, boldly written. There was a very serious incident that happened there. The people were sent, about 12 spies were sent out to spy out the land of Canaan to know how fertile the place is. Is it what they heard about? They set out. Among them, prominent among them was Joshua. And next one was Caleb. There were 12 of them. When they came back, they infused or tried to put fear in the mind of the people. Oh man, we're not going to make this. Out there, we have the Nephilims, we have the Amalekites, we have the Hittites, we have the Jebusites, we have the Amorites. And they were like the people were towering above them, that they appeared like grasshoppers before them. This is a way of sabotage. And the people, this weakened their mind. So there was a revolt. Moses had to fall to the ground. This was sabotage. Then it took Caleb and Joshua to rise up to motivate the people, to tell them, no, since God is with us, listen, since God is with us, those people, instead of us being like grasshoppers before them, they will be the ones like grasshoppers before us. There's a lot to learn from this. There are people today in this struggle who appear or who, one way or the other, discourage us from doing what is right, from pursuing our aim and dream towards freedom, towards liberation. So, I don't know. These people are kind of enablers. They are like unfriendly friends. They aid and abet what is happening to us today. The Fulani encompassing, taking advantage of the whole situation. The British handed over to them and all that. There are people, these are our professors, the elite, the governors, the senators, and all that. And I don't know if I've gone beyond my time.
I would, you did, that's good. I would ask Father Ben to throw light in this, to add to what Ehud Rabba just made us to understand, that during the time of the Israelites, Moses had challenges. There are also saboteurs within the Israelites, within the camp. Can you please, Father Ben, share with us on this very area of sabotaging within the camp?
Yes, thank you for this wonderful opportunity. When God called the people of Israel through Moses to go and restore that God-given freedom which they have lost, a lot of people think, or we are thinking, that this is an impossible mission. And also, they didn't even consider Moses as the rightful instrument. So they were looking at, the elders, the leaders, those whom they call the leaders, to lead them out. Lo and behold, they saw a small boy in their own perspective coming to say, I'm setting these people free. The people did not take them seriously. The Pharaoh did not take them seriously. They thought everything was a huge joke. What happened? One thing sustained Moses, relying on the power and the ability of the one that sent him on this mission. Relying on the power and the ability of the one that sent him on this mission. That was his success. And his failure came when he started doubting or acting on impulse. But at the end of the day, God used him to achieve that mission. So the people try to sabotage him. Some people were saying, oh, it is good for us to be here. You are sending us out. One, they are, their future is, they're not, the future of the thing is not guaranteed. How are we going to survive? How are we going to live? How are we going to sustain ourselves? At least, even though we are suffering here, we have roof over our heads. We have meals, food to eat. So let us stay here and die here because we are already dying. That is the state of the people of Israel during that time. You have also another group within them that are called frenemies. Those who are enemies, but they pretend to be friends. They are the worst group among them. So in every struggle, you definitely are going to have the enemies and the frenemies. The enemies are well known to the people, but the frenemies are hardly to be discovered because they pretend to be your enemy, your friend. You call them, they advise you, you take instructions, advice from them, but at the end of the day, they get that information from you and give it out. That is the worst group of people. But in the case of the people of Israel, Moses was able to surmount all these situations, bearing in mind of his mission, bearing in mind of who called him. Once one has this mission identified, the sender identified, you trust and believe in the sender, you trust and believe in the mission, definitely you are going to succeed. No matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, people will die. But at the end of the day, the mission we have accomplished. That is where we are today in the struggles of Biafra. We have similar people who are doubting the possibility of IPOB, of Nnamdi Kanu IPOB, leading them to freedom. They are looking for the elites. And I want to make an allusion to what I think Ms. Nena said. Our leaders, the traditional rulers. What I will tell you today is that in the African struggle, what we have is political traditional rulers. One, the traditional rulers are the custodian of the tradition and culture. They don't need certificate to achieve that mission because it is imposed on them by the culture and tradition. You don't need certificate. So once you are talking about certificate, you have gone political. So what we have today is political traditional rulers. And they pay allegiance to those who give them the certificate. But those who are the custodian of the people, who have the mandate of the gods to take care of the people, listen to the gods. They respect the soil, the land. They respect the culture. They respect the tradition. They have their core values that are their principal guide in everything they do. But for those who are certificated, those people, they have nothing to do with you. Their power and their ability is in that certificate. And their trust and their belief is anchored on the person that gives them that certificate. Because what they feel that once they offend them, the certificate will be taken away from them and then they will lose their positions. And we should not be scared about such people because we know who they are. And once God made us to know who they are, we are better equipped to strategize on how to avoid them in order to reach a destination. Because there was an adage that said, if you stop to throw stone at every dog that barks, you can never get to your destination. That is why Moses did not lose focus. Nnamdi Kanu is not losing focus. And we all should come together to embrace one common ideal, one common mission, one common vision, one common goal, and that is the resurrection of Biafra. Thank you.
This is Biafra 360. We take a commercial break. Come back. Now we will hear from Mazi Nandi Odogu. We know there are some nations or countries that emerge ahead before us. Could you please give us example of those countries and also share with us how they handled their saboteurs?
The topic today is something that has been in history. And I would like to add one more thing to the enemy within, fear. For President Roosevelt of the United States, he said that the only thing to fear is fear itself. Fear is a part of the sabotage. What the enemies with us should know is that if you help a feudal master to kill your own king, you will be the next person to be killed by the feudal master. Today, we are in the darkest point in our lives. We have been killed, marginalized, spit on, raped, humiliated, our resources taken, just because of few greedy people that call themselves leaders, who are very greed, very corrupt, lawlessness, disrespect to the people. It's very important for them to remember countries like Korea, China, Eritrea, and other people, the punishment they gave to the saboteurs. We all will agree with me that our traditional rulers did not do a good job and have done us evil. Fulanis we are talking about today, that is corrupting all these our traditional leaders. Fulanis never win any war. They never did. All the Fulanis did is to use you to kill you. And the traditional leaders fall into it. I personally don't see them as a traditional leaders. I see them as evil leaders. People who can sell their own people because of money, compromise and do things that is very, very horrible. They have been witnessing killing here and there, raping here and there. And whenever the people complain to them, they say, oh, don't worry, we'll handle it. And they never did. These are the most evil people we have ever seen in the history of mankind. And it's quite obvious that something has to be done. Because all these countries I just mentioned, they never give any chance to any saboteur. In most cases, the generation is wiped out. Their history erased. And they were never given any choice. It strikes my mind and my imagination when I hear people say, our governors, our leaders. Let me categorically make it clear here that you have no leader, you have no governor. These people are Fulani operatives. They don't work for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have our neighbors, the Oduduwas, the Yorubas. We have also heard from our sister, Nen Naibi, about the traditional rulers. We also heard about the governors within Biafra land. We need to hear about the saboteurs in Yoruba nation. What is the difference? Does it mean they don't have saboteurs like we do have in Biafra land? Please, Dr. Lawal, share with us the experience that you've seen in the Yoruba Oduduwa struggle.
Good evening once again, viewers. First of all, before I go into my situation of today, I would like to thank the host and the entire BTV Washington, D.C. for their awesome opportunity given to me all the time to come and hear my views regarding the contraption called Nigeria, where we, the Yoruba people, find ourselves. I want to let you know that I was only 4 years old when we got our independence in 1960. Today, it is over 61 years, and we're still going through this contraption called Nigeria. We have not seen anything. We have not gained anything from our contraption, from our forceful, manipulative amalgamation. The southern and the northern have nothing in common. My viewers, I want you to listen. This looks to me like a politics 101 that we should be hearing and telling each other on a daily basis. Southern Protectorate, as the British may call it, and the Northern Protectorate, we have nothing in common. A nation has the language, the custom, the traditions, and the mindset. We in the South do not speak Fufude like the Fulanese. We do not speak Hausas. The British forced us all to start speaking English to one another. Meanwhile, the Yoruba speak Yoruba. Homogeneously, we are all speaking that language called Yoruba. The Igbos in the southeast and probably in the south, they speak Igbo. And look at what is happening. None of us is speaking our own languages. We are all speaking the British language, which is English. Now let me now go and address this issue. Saboteurs. Are we for real? In the last 60 years in Nigeria, we are where we are today because of the people I will call the saboteurs and the traitors to our Yoruba people. I would have wished that I have a couple of my Yoruba people here to handle this, but I will handle it to you today. That we have 5 categories of saboteurs, and if time permits me, I will address each one of them critically. And the first one I will talk about is the politicians. The Yoruba politicians, if you look at them very well, they will call themselves educated, sophisticated people. But today I put it to you that you are functional illiterates. All of you have read the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria, and you realize there are 68 exclusives that you cannot talk about, you cannot touch. If the federal government, the central government, does not give you education, they say you cannot address it. If the government kills one of your sons, your husband, your wife, you cannot take the government to court. In any civilized nation, a citizen has a right to sue anybody that has injured them or harmed them in one way or the other. But it's not happening in the contraption called Nigeria. And our politicians, who most of them are lawyers, political bigwigs, they read the law and they're defending the indefensible, reprehensible law that needs to be thrown into the garbage of history. My people, these politicians, they may not know themselves, but I will give you some of them. Mr. Jide Sanwo-Olu is supposed to be the governor of Lagos State. This man allowed the federal government to kill the Yoruba and even the Biafran citizens that are in Lagos. He sent the army because they are asking for the government not to send the police to kill them. Sanwo-Olu permitted the military men to gun down almost 67 of our children. And there was no reparation, no compensation to the parents of these children. That is the kind of politicians that we have. Mr. Seyi Makinde is the governor of Oyo State. When Ibarapa were killing, the Fulani in Ibarapa were killing the Yorubas there, he told Sunday Igboho, a very courageous, bodacious Yoruba man, that enough is enough. This governor of the state, the man who is supposed to be protecting every citizen, he says Igboho has no right to tell them to leave our land. That is supposed to be the governor who is supposed to be protecting every living citizen in Oyo State. Mr. Fayemi of Ekiti, he had the audacity, the impunity to invite the Fulanis to come and farm in Ekiti when our Yoruba people will not have the audacity to go to any state in the north to go and do likewise. They are either killed, they are burned down, they are raped, they are kidnapped. Another area that I want to talk about is our pastors. A lot of people from the Afran, they have talked about the spiritual concept of saboteurs. Our pastors are supposed to be men of character, of good traits, of boldness, of anointing. We understood that Elijah, a man of God, challenged the evil people of his day. They may not listen to him, but when he finished doing what he needed to do, he called down fire. Where is the anointed pastors of Yoruba land? They did not have the courage to speak to Fulani. Are they afraid of Buratai? We heard that Nathan went to King David to tell him of his adulteress and the murderer that he committed. Where is the voice of our pastors of today? So therefore I call Pastor Adeboye, Pastor Yedepo, Pastor Kumuyi, Pastor Lukoya. Where are you? Where is your voice? For your people, they're killing your people one at a time. You have over 1 million people as your congregational members, but you stand on the pulpit talking about success, money, houses, when lives are being killed. Is it not when they have lives that they can enjoy the material wealth, and you stand there allowing the ex-man to kidnap? Or is it because your wife has not been kidnapped, your daughters have not been raped, your house has not been burnt down? I want you to start asking yourself that question. And the next one is our elite, our so-called billionaires and millionaires. You are keeping quiet because you have not been killed yet. Your children have not been killed. They're all in abroad. But you know that the common man's children cannot even afford 1 or 2 square meals a day in Nigeria. And you have the money. How many schools have you built? How many industries have you opened for our graduates who are rumbling all over the Lagos, becoming vagabonds, Marwa drivers, and some of them have also joined the Yahoo boys? Is that what you want to turn the millennial generation into? Useless vagabonds, while your own children are all scattered all over abroad. You are buying them houses for 4, 15, 20 million. The millions that belong to the entire generation of Nigerian citizens, especially the Yoruba citizens. Because majority of the money that you have stolen belong to us, not to your family alone. And the last set of people that I'll talk about are these people that call themselves the so-called Yoruba in the Lagos state. They have allowed a saboteur, a traitor like Tinubu, who had ruled for 20 years. In the last 20 years, almost every asset, properties in Lagos have been confiscated and turned to his own, for his own use and for his family. He chooses for you, your king. He chooses for you, your commissioner, your governor. And when he does that, he aligns you with the Fulani Caliphate. where they become your masters. You are like slaves to them because they are the one paying you. All those houses, cars that you're buying and riding do not come from your salary. And because they're giving you 30 million a month, you have forgotten that that money belongs to the generation of Yorubas and Biafrans. We are the one doing all the work.
Excuse
and
me.
Continue.
Tinubu, is it the same Tinubu that used to be in America, that drug pusher?
Yes, that drug pusher. Thank you very much, Os. It's the same guy that if he enters this country again, Tinubu will be picked up and in handcuffs. Not only is he a drug pusher, he's a drug addict himself. If you look at this man, this is the man you all want to vote for. My Yoruba people, wake up from your slumber. If you're in a comatose, wake up. I say wake up. Tinubu is not the man that you will allow to rule us. A man that has lost his mind. A man that is a money launderer. The man that is killing and drinking the blood of your children. Tinubu is killing your children. And he will not blink an eyelid to kill again because of the Fulani economic government. He wants to be president at all costs. If he has to kill all the families that are against him, he will do so without blinking an eyelid. And the last but not the least is our so-called Obas. Oh, you kings of Yoruba land, I call you. I call you who you are. You are supposed to be the oracle of the soil of the land. But all you kings, you are not. You are the first saboteurs of the land because you allow the Fulanis to bribe you and you sell us to them. You cajole us. You lie to us. As a matter of fact, the Alafia for you are heard that your great-grandfather was one of those that sold us during the Atlantic slave trade. And you are now trying to sell us again to the Fulanis. It will not work for you, sir. So if you know what you are doing, call the rest of your Obas, because you're supposed to be the leader of the Obas, and tell them that Yoruba nation is going. We are proceeding. We are not dying. We are living. We are alive. We are active. We are not backing down. We are not giving up. We are not quitting, and we are not surrender. And there's nothing you can do about it, because this is the time. The Bible says it's set time to free us like it freed the Israelites. It's now. That's what my Bible tells me. And those that opposed Moses at that time, the family of Dathan, the family of Reuben, the family of Korah, when they were opposing Moses on that day, the Almighty God asked them, what do you want me to do for them? And Moses said, do what you have never done before God. And what did God do? The Lord said, oh you earth, oh you earth, oh you earth, open your mouth and swallow them. And the earth opened up and swallowed all these people that were saboteurs. So shall it be for you Yoruba saboteurs in that contraption called Nigeria. I am not done with you yet. We're going to come back. That's my summation, my first summation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lawal. Thank you. I'm going to bring in our sister, Madam Erewa. We have saboteurs within the struggle. We have saboteurs in our camp. Not only those outside, but those within the IPOB movement, the IPOB struggle. Could you please share with us or help us to identify the known saboteurs we have within IPOB?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I am Madam Annie Redworishe Erewa. The meaning of Annie Redworishe is nobody is wiser than God. That's a Checkering name. Yes, I'm here to talk about enemies within IPOB in the USA and global. And there are many, several of them, but I will identify 6 that I have contact with, and a lesson to be learned from them, from their activities and insubordination. that they committed. I joined IPOB in November 2015, 1 month into the illegal arrest and kidnapping of our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And during the time I joined, I have Dr. Clifford Irwanya at that time was on in DOS, was serving in DOS. And Obidi Obienu was serving as the national USA national coordinator. Obidi Obienu conducted my oath, and when I have questions, he will direct me to Clifford Irwanya. So with time, I was able to familiarize myself with chain of command in IPOB. Now, there was a friction between Clifford Irwanya and Obidi Obienu. They weren't getting along. And in the process, Obidi Obienu was suspended from his position as IPOB USA National Coordinator by Dr. Clifford Irwanya. And our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, was still in prison during the course of this time. And as a result of that suspension, I had opportunity to now work directly with Clifford Irwanya because US was divided into 4. And I was made the national coordinator for the East Coast, let me put it that way. And then had opportunity now to have meetings with Clifford Irwanya. And during the course of this meeting, I found that Dr. Clifford Irwanya never paid any dues at all, but he wants people to pay money. If there are 2 accounts that was set up, one in Texas, Chase Bank, then one in California, Bank of America. If it is dues, it goes to Bank of America. If it is levies, it goes to Chase Bank. But the money, no one knows. They don't give a report to where this money goes to. So it was during that meeting where I was questioning Dr. Clifford Irwanya, where does this money go to? Can we have a report? That's when he told me that, oh, leader, he lied against leader, even against leader's wife. He told me that leader didn't want report to be given. And in fact, and that the money collected, he sent it to leader and the money was returned back to him. And leader said the money should go to his wife. And when you listen to Clifford Irwanya giving this report, you can tell he's lying. So when I then asked Clifford, okay, if that's the case, leader that says that money should go to Germany for, the struggle, the same leader told you, Clifford Irwanya, to send the money to the wife. I said, well, why don't we then send our money individually to, that is not individual, but unit or zone or region, how they want to call it, group, send our money directly to Germany. And that's when Clifford told me that, oh, leader said if you send your money directly to Germany, you are no longer IPOB. So I said that couldn't be. How? Money that you sent to Germany for the struggle, leader is saying that you are not IPOB. So this is how I came in contact with Mrs. Madam Nenaya, and I made inquiry with her. And it turned out that that was a lie by Dr. Clifford Irwanya. And in fact, she communicated with leader in prison, and leader gave a clearance that money, each group can act autonomy, send your money directly to Germany. So that was how our unit started to send our money to Germany. During this time, also, we have Mazi Maram Ugoshuku. He too was another one. They were all not paying dues. They were not making payment. Clifford wasn't making payment. He was using the money to travel around, go to places, because the account that he opened was actually a shareholder's account. So during the course of this time, in no time at all, um, they were removed from DOS. And they were removed from DOS. Then Uchemefo, Mazi Uchemefo brought back Obidi Obienu. And Obidi Obienu was reinstated back to become the IPOB USA National Coordinator. But when Clifford Irwanya was removed, Obidi Obienu now became the North American, first of all, USA rep. Then he became North American rep. I'll tell you, Obidi Obienu was something else. He practically think that IPOB belonged to him. It's his personal property. He came up with stipulations, unbelievable stipulations that Obidi Obienu came up with. And one that really, really got me was when leader's house was invaded and the whereabouts of leader was not known, a group of us, women, we decided that we will go on radio to basically advocate, to evangelize, encouraging women to join the struggle, And so we came up with a flyer, and Mrs. Ebere Mba was one of us, myself, one Mrs. Omije, who is no longer IPOB, and one, she's from EFIC. We went on Radio Biafra USA 1, hosted by Mazi Alozia, and we introduced ourselves as IPOB women, under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu. Obidi Obienu raised hell about it. We put him a very, very strong performance in that radio. A lot of people were very, very impressed. And Obidi Obienu went hell about it. He got mad. This was in March 2018. Obidi got mad. He said we cannot say that IPOB is under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And then we submitted a petition to Uchemefo reporting Obidi Obienu. We didn't say that Obidi Obienu should be removed from IPOB, but we're saying that the position that he's holding is not, he is not the right person for that position. Get somebody else. Obidi can't say that IPOB is not under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu, and telling us that we should have gone on air to be talking about transmitter. And to our surprise, Uchemefo, who is the second man in command to leader, took side with Obidi Obienu. He said we have no right whatsoever to report Obidi Obienu, to even submit any petition against Obidi Obienu, because Obidi Obienu is DOS. you know. So I then asked Ushemefo, if IPOB is not under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, then under whose leadership is IPOB? You are deputy, so you are telling us that IPOB is not under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu. So tell us, under whose leadership? Uchemefo couldn't answer that. And it didn't end there. The flyer that we designed, that we created, and in that flyer, we put IPOB under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. OBD went there. The same flyer, he removed that that very portion, that IPOB is under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu. He took that out completely and put his name there somewhere. So it's like IPOB became his personal property, you know, and that didn't play
Madam
very well.
Erewa, these are
Yes,
enemies we used to have within IPOB. All these people she
exactly.
have been mentioning are those that are no longer within the IPOB camp. But clearly, we know they were the enemies within the IPOB. We still have some other unidentified, those on the fence, those one day they are within IPOB and next day they are not with Nnamdi Kanu. They are just the enemies within the IPOB. Before we conclude this evening's section, I would like us to take a short break and we'll be right back. As we conclude this section tonight from BTV, Washington, D.C., Biafra 360, I will give each panelist 1 minute to please summarize this evening's topic, the enemy within. The enemy within Biafra land. The enemy obstructing the struggle. I will give a minute to our sister, Nena Ibe, to please summarize this evening's section. The enemy within. The enemy within the struggle. The enemy within IPOB struggle. The enemy within Biafra struggle. And the enemy within Oduduwa Yoruba struggle.
The enemies within in Biafra struggle include all the Eastern Nigerian governors, all the Eastern Nigerian senators, probably except Abaribe, all the Eastern region parliamentarians, those in the House of Parliament. They are all enemy within. Our own brothers and sisters, like Madam Erewa have enumerated them, people that were part and parcel of IPOB and today they have fallen out. I will not fail to mention Uchemefo. I will not fail to mention George Onibe. I will not fail to mention all the men of BDOBN, all of them that conspired to take us in a different direction. They are all enemies within. And even within our units, our unit, that is our unit within our communities, we still have enemies within. But one thing I want to mention here, that for Biafra to be achieved, there should be a drastic action against all these enemies within their proportionate what they do to us and how they are dealing with us. So they have to be dealt with. They have to be dealt with, from the governors to the Ezes, to the Igwes, to the senators, to ordinary politicians from the state house, even local government. There is a lot we are grappling with. So we just pray that God will give us the strength and the energy. And I also pray for our leader Onyendu, that God will continue to strengthen him and empower him, because he's grappling with a lot. Nanikani is just like Moses on the wilderness, bringing millions and thousands of people out of Egypt, and they are all hard-hearted. None of them want to listen, and each of them want to end up to become an enemy. And of course, we know what happened to them. The Bible told me that only 2 men who left Egypt got to the promised land, Caleb and Joshua. And that is how it's going to be all the enemies within in Biafra land. Many of them, almost all of them, will not taste Biafra. This is it. He said, thank you.
Thank you. We also have, last week, our leader had a broadcast, which sounds like a warning to all the saboteurs in Biafra land. Also, a letter came from the DOS, which serves as the last warning to the saboteurs we have. I would like our Ehud, Rabba right here with me in the studio, to please give us a summary how we should handle on what you think about the memo that came from the DOS and also the broadcast from our leader, Nnamdi Kanu, addressing the saboteurs moving forward.
Thank you once again for having me. And that's a very nice one indeed. As per the book of Numbers 13 through 14, there were enablers, those who rebelled, who sabotaged the movement from Egypt through the wilderness to the promised land, should have ordinarily taken 11 days, but it took 40 years. That means there was an impediment in the wheel of progress. So Moses went through a lot. Our leader also have gone through a lot. There's only one formula out of this. Like the last speaker said, out of the 12 spies that went out to spy out the land of Canaan, it took Caleb and Joshua to reach the promised land. The rest of them perished. How did they perish? God struck them. Even though Moses tried to intervene, calling God, so instead of, God promised Moses to make him a great nation, that he would smite all these people in the wilderness. But Moses cried. Still, God made them to slow down on the journey. It took them a longer period. If you can see, from the first war we fought, should I call it war? They called it war, but it's a genocide. It was a pogrom. Till now, it has taken us a long time because we probably didn't do something right. But this time around, we're going to get it right. How are we going to get it right? Get rid of all those enemies of Biafra, of all those saboteurs, of all those enemies within. You call them, like I would say, like President George Bush would say, there's no difference between evil and those who harbor evil. They are the ones, the Igbes, the Obis, like the Obi of Onitsha, the things he did recently, the governors, the scholars, the professors, the doctors, all of them, the idiots that call themselves politicians who cannot spell a B from a Bush foot. So this is what we're going to do. We have to use the 4 F's in the rule of engagement. We have to find them, fix them, fight them, and finish them. That's the only way out. And then we pay them back in their own coins.
Repeat that, please.
We're going to have to use the 4 F's in the rule of engagement in combat. Find the enemy, fix the enemy, fight them, and finish them up. That is it. That's the only way out. They are always around. You're not going to know them. You have the open ones, you have the hidden ones, but they are within. Some of them are like what you call passive enemies. Those people who know what they should do, but don't want to do it. Who think, who are sitting on the fence. They don't know where they belong. They are waiting for the positive result to come out. They are in a state of dilemma. Those people who go out to fight evil, but end up becoming the evil that they went out to fight against. They're in a state of dilemma. The sadists, like hopeless, also they might call him whatever. What is that Fulani title? Is Sarikin Fulani of Imo State. The people like Obiano, the Omahi, what they call the one in Abia State, the pot belly idiot. Okay, so that we're gonna have to deal with them, pay them back. What's about the idiot? The one that speaks like he got stung by a bee in River State. The one says he's not Igbo. But everything about him is he has all the fingerprints of Igbo. Weekend, whatever he is, he thinks he's landed. Well, the Ides of March are come, but not yet gone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you touched up on those on the fence. If you are on the fence, you don't know which side to go. The time has come. Sitting on the fence no more will push you. You have to take a side. If you are on the fence, you will be pushed to take a side. Some of us, or some of you guys, they are saying, when will you bring the Biafra for us? When will you? That's your question you asking. You need to take a stand. And you need to take a stand soon, quickly, because very soon, and you know, the ground is no longer level. Moving forward, I will bring in Father Ben. Father Ben, please give us your 1 minute conclusion on this very topic, the enemy within the struggle. Thank you.
Yes, we already know the enemy within the struggle. Those who don't want to do what is expected of us, and those who think that freedom fighting is democratic, and those who are willing to take money to do the ugly jobs. And such people, we must, as a matter of urgency, avoid them, blockade them, and then never allow them to act. That is the only way out. Because as for trying, they will try. Will they succeed? No. But in their attempt to try, thousands will die. That is why it's a matter of urgency to stop them at all costs. Because freedom fighting and restoration of Biafra is no joke. People have died. People are dying.
Thank you, Father Ben. Thank you. We must engage them. We must put in place, or we have to enforce the rule of engagement, the 4 F's. Now, I will bring in Mazi Nnamdi Odogwu. Nnamdi Odogwu is right here in the BTV station, Washington, D.C. with me. We will give him 1 minute to please summarize and give us your thoughts how we should handle the enemies within the struggle.
Thank you, the host. I will briefly here try to say exactly what I think that is necessary. But before I say that, let me remind every one of us, both here and home, that every one of us knows what he's doing. It's a saboteur to this struggle. You know yourself. You can run, but you cannot hide. Because evil has an end date. No one should be told that the saboteurs are like cancer in the body. The only thing cancer will do to you is to kill you. And the only thing it can do to cancer is to remove it. And they must be removed. That goes to tell every one of them, to remind them, you cannot come tomorrow and say you don't know what they are doing. You know what they are doing. We are in social media. We see all these things every day. The record is there. Their behavior is there. Their pronouncement is there. Remember the Igbo adage that says, if you take something that belongs to a kid and raise up your hand so you cannot be able to reach and get it, when your arm becomes tired and weak, you bring down your hand. And if you refuse to bring down your hand, God will bring down your hand. So all these people who are, looking, young men, all these traditional rulers, House of Assemblies, governors, who are in their 60s, looking at these young men in their 20s being killed, and they look the other way. The price is coming. So, in conclusion, I will have to say something that will remind us who we are and what we are doing. Bear in mind that Biafra is a sovereign country. Nigeria is invading a sovereign country. Biafra has a coat of arms. We have national flag. We have national item. We have our currency. We have head of state. And we have the people. So basically, this is not a fight, if I may say, between the southeast or the west. It's a fight between Biafra country and Nigeria. So the saboteurs must be flushed out. And in conclusion, I would just like to say that do not think what the enemy can do. Think what he can do to the enemies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Before I bring in Madam Erewa, and then we end with our sister, Dr. Lowell, let us take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Now, welcome back. I will now bring in Madam Erewa to please conclude. Just use 1 minute, not more than 1 minute because the time is far-fetched, to give us your opinion regarding the saboteurs.
Yes, the IPOB Biafra agitation is more spiritual than physical. And all these saboteurs, they're fighting with spirit. It's time to start dealing with them. Do what the Kenyans did. Mau Mau, they got rid of all the saboteurs to send a message, a very strong message to Britain, to Fulani, that all those cabals, that this is no longer a joke. Ishekiri, all those Ishekiris, you people are not hearing about them. There are saboteurs in there. They need to be dealt with and exposed. So the thing is, being a sabo is an enemy. They should get rid of them. There is nothing wrong doing that because it has to be eye for an eye. You slap one cheek, no longer giving the other cheek. You get it back. So they should start getting rid of them. That's the only way to send a strong message to those that are causing the problems, and then they will know that this is serious. Thank you very much.
Nailed it. You nailed it. We have to engage them. We have to take care of them. I don't know what we're waiting for. everyone asking, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Are we waiting for them to kill us off? Are we waiting for our men and women to die before we take actions? What are we waiting for taking on the governors? What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? That is the question. But today, we all know that we trust our leader. We count on his judgment. And I know because this struggle is not ours. This struggle is the Lord's struggle. God's time is not our time. Our time and the time our leader has with God may not be the same. Let us exercise patience and take directions and directives from him. Now I will give the floor to Madam Lawal to please conclude this edition, this section, Biafra 360, the enemy within.
Thank you, my people. I know it's been a long time. 60 years is not a short time for any human span of life. Myself, I'm 65 years old. I shouldn't be in the United States of America. But because of the contraption and what we have there, the saboteurs that do not want us to go, like I told you, the Yoruba people have 55 million. We speak the same language, we have the same culture, the same tradition. But the saboteurs within us, like Tinubu, Mrs. Alakija, you are a billionaire woman, you have children, and you see Nigerian children being killed and massacred by the government of Nigeria. Are you all afraid of Buhari, Buratai the killer, Isa pandemic, calling himself Isa Pantami, who has committed genocide almost the last 10 years? He has killed over 25,000, both Biafrans and the Yorubas. And yet, on your watch, this man was nominated as a minister for communication, and you all kept quiet. What is wrong with you? But you, my Yoruba people, I don't want you to be afraid. I don't want you to be scared. This battle is going to be won, not only with you, but with God. Because God says the vengeance of the egregious, hegemonic government of Fulani is coming to an end. It might not be this month, it might not be next month, but I want to assure you that the journey of 1,000 years starts with a day. That one drop of water will fill a mighty ocean. Do not be afraid. Seyi Makinde is not your friend. It's a politician, and it's the ass licker of the Fulanis. Tinubu is not your friend. It's a destiny destroyer. It's a glory stealer. He wants to destroy your nation, Yoruba people, and he wants to destroy your children. He wants them to be vagabonds. You want them to be area boys. You want them to be Yahoo boys because they failed to produce any industries for them. No road, no infrastructure, no good water, no security. They're killing your children on a daily basis. And then as far as our father, that they call themselves the kings and the chiefs, I ask you to wake up from your slumber. Do not let your greed continue to kill your people. If you have sold your destiny, your integrity, what about tomorrow, your heritage? What legacy do you want to leave your children? Because today, you think you are enjoying, but in another 15, 20 years, your descendants will not be around to tell the story of how you enjoy. Therefore, my people Yoruba, stand firm and be resolute. Because this battle will be fought with you and God. I want you to be strong. The will, the grace, and the strength to fight this will be provided. No going back, no turning around. I want you to be focused. I want you to be resolute. And the mighty hand of God that lifted the Israelites out of Egypt. When he lifted them out, he made them rich. When we leave the contraption called Nigeria, we are going to be extremely blessed. And the whole nation will know that the Yoruba nation have come. We have come to stay, and we will stay by the power and the authority in the name of God. That's my summation for today. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Lawal. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lawal.
Amen.
As we bring this to a close, I must recognize those panelists online. I would like us to thank our sister online, Madam Nena Ibe.
Thank you, Mazi. Thank you.
I would like to use this minute to thank Madam Eriwa for her contributions. We also like to thank Father Ben for joining us from Pennsylvania. And right here in the studio, I would like to thank the panelists here with me, Ehud Rabba.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Ehud Rabba Achinebri. It's been a wonderful day and a wonderful session in the BTV 360. And I am very much delighted for being here. And thank you all.
Thank you. Maze Nandi Udogu.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
And Dr. Lawal.
Thank you, the host. It has been more than a pleasure today to speak to my people. Thank you very much. I'm privileged.
Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you for joining us this evening. And I hope that you will join us in the next segment.